Hello, present and future founders. I'm Leo Requena, your host, and I'm very happy to have you here. Welcome to another episode of Challenging Sales, where we will talk with other founders like yourself about what worked, what not, and what challenges they can foresee in the ever changing world of B2B sales. In today's episode, you will listen about a founder who devours books and that has shown unique courage when it comes to persistently challenging himself once and again to embody this knowledge. My guest today is Diego González Castellanos, CEO of Galilei Learning, a startup that 2 years ago started its story in Colombia and today is changing the industry of restaurants and hospitality by making personal training a game all employees enjoy playing. It has a team of five, and in less than 8 months, it has grown to serve more than 50 different locations in the United States. In this episode, we talked about how he started a startup with a good set of discovery questions way before he had a good product or even a founding team, how he showed up in cold in his prospect's location, and how that has worked very well with respect to, for example, digital outreach, and his belief that all it takes is 60 seconds of courage to talk to someone you don't know and move you out of your comfort zone, among many other things. So, without further ado, let's go to this episode. What can you tell me about your hero, like sales gurus? Do you have any? Be this a book, be this a mentor, be this a framework, whatever.
We create our framework. Actually, we have a like I did all the summaries of these books, and I bring everything that I think is super valuable.
Uh huh.
And I designed like our own framework to have meetings and everything in there. And it takes the best of all of them for me. Actually, it's like not my own creation. I think it's picking the best things that I learned from those. So I have the Caldini stuff, for example, like scarcity or even
Mm-hmm.
like similarity, things like that, or even like the mirroring for the never split the difference, or the way we have the conversation from Aaron Ross. Like I have a mix the things in just one place, and that's the thing that I give to the team so we can have like the same kind of conversations with clients.
That's fascinating, right? I mean, the fact that today it's so easy to plug everything that's relevant into place and now to be able to play with it is
Yeah.
it's really useful if you know how to do things right, because again, it's not about necessarily the technology, rather about the context. So if you give good context, like in this case, you're curating the books that you believe are valuable because of something and you put it in there, then it's useful, right?
Yeah, no, I did my job. Like I read every single book. I did my summaries. I bring the ideas that I think this is from Galilee, maybe the best thing that I could have. So I put that like in a specific place and I create or meetings or mails or everything. Like the whole process is in there. Like you're gonna reach someone, do this, do that. That's the whole process.
I want to know if you could share with me like the origin story of Galilei, like what was that moment? I don't know if it was an idea, if it was a situation, but what was like that moment when you said, I got to make this work?
I think Galilei has like maybe two times stories. Like the very
Okay.
first idea, the very first time that I thought about Galilei, it was 2023 maybe. Yeah, at the very end, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about creating something valuable because I did my switch career from civil engineer and manager from a construction company, a big construction company, to tech. I
Mm-hmm.
became like uh, the data analyst from LATAM, from Save the
Mm-hmm.
Children International. So I started doing that role and I was super excited about to get into tech. But when I get to that role, it wasn't what I was expecting because I was used to solve huge problems. I have a huge team that I was leading, even though I create the whole area. So I have huge problems to solve, and I was leading people, and I have more than 20 people that maybe not directly, but maybe like in an indirect way, I was leading. Some's direct, but other was like contractors and things like that. And it was super
Mhm.
cool and I like it. But I stopped liking civil engineering when I realized that after the pandemic, I learned how to code. And I tried to bring everything in there. And my boss said, well, guy, you are maybe one of the best engineers you have. You're pretty good, but stop inventing the wheel. We already know how to
Oof.
build things. Just keep doing what you're doing, that you're doing great. And actually, they gave me a huge opportunity. And I said, well, okay, cool. Maybe it's not the guild that I should be because in
Mhm.
construction everything is the same way, like it's too traditional. They are not thinking about how to scale things. They are thinking about AI. And at the time, AI was more about like learning about machine learning and
Yes.
Python and you know.
It wasn't the post ChatGPT
Yeah, no, no, no.
times.
At the time, it was a completely different thing, and I was super involved, so I like it. So to create like the neural system, and um, and when he said that, I realized that I was so grateful with these guys. Actually, with my boss, that it's kind of a mentor for me. Uh, but I said it's not gonna work for me. I need to be in a place that I need to invent the wheel. I want to. So I started like it was after pandemic, so I started like hustling about learning more. So when I did my career change and I started another role, I realized I didn't like it because it wasn't what I was looking for. And a guy that I used to lead before just called me and told me, Diego, I have a book. No, I have a math game that my father gave me. My father dead during pandemic. And I want you to do something because I know you are in tech right now. You know how to code. It's
Yeah.
for the little kids to learn maths. And they can learn from maths, like um, the simple things like sums and things like that to algebra. So I say, wow, that's cool. I like it because I had ADHD when I was a little kid and I was
Okay.
interesting. So I said, show me. And when he showed me, it was like, I said, man, if I would have that when I was a little kid, like I would learn like even faster, even better, get interested in these topics right now. People is not too into engineering because it's hard, because it's mad, because they are looking for things like more instant like recognition, more instant gratification. And I say, well, maybe this is like the combination. So we start Galilei at that point, at the beginning with that idea. So we were creating video games, actually video games, to help little kids to learn math. It was the
Okay.
first
So
goal.
so your first story went approached kids.
Absolutely. It was
Wow.
that way. And I will get clients with an idea, as always. And I get another. I realized that I wasn't that good at code when I had to develop like the game. So
Okay.
I said, well, maybe I'm not that good. So I get another partner. He was like working with Globant, that he was like involved with some of the big development company from video games like Disney and Zynga. So I said, wow, it could work. And we start working like for a year, something like that. But that was the other change. I realized that in that market, you have two clients, or government that is too hard to get into because there are too many interests because you are in education, or the private that are too
Okay.
small to have like a good share of the market. And
Mhm.
I was thinking about that, and I said, well, maybe I love what I'm doing, but I need to live from something or go back to work. And some companies start asking me, like, why don't you do that for me? Maybe for the regulatory test, like I don't know, security and health or things like that, like during the mandatory things. And I didn't so like, why are you going to pay something gamified if you just care to just pass? And
Yes.
it won't help you to do better if people is more safe if you don't care. Will you pay
Mhm.
more for that or will you pay the same? I say, no, I will pay the cheapest one. I say, obviously, because it's mandatory.
Yes.
But starting to have more and more conversations, I realized that actually there was problem there. and it was with the let's say the blue collar or deskless employees. When I start having more and more conversations, I start listening to the same paths. The turnover is high, the people is not motivated, they don't learn what they have to do, they are not motivated to do the things that I need to do, and I prefer to change them and bring another one. And I say, wow, and this is repeating and repeating and repeating again. So when I started the first part of Galilei, I had like a partner that it was Simon, that is my co-founder.
Hmm.
And Simon is like, I think in the world, maybe it's just one better than him in gamification, that it was his prior boss, is Yukai Chao. Simon worked with
Wow.
him
Yeah.
like 7 years with Yukai, and he was like the Latin director of Octalysis. That is like the company of Yukai.
Yeah. He must be one of the gurus on gamification. If
Yukai
not,
is
the one has
Yukai
more
is the
that has written the most about it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So Yukai is the top notch in gamification, and Simon was his right hand for 7 years. And when I started, told Simon, I need you to teach me because I saw a Platzi course of Simon, and I wrote him and I say, because we studied in the same school, but I didn't see him since we were like 18 years or something like that. So I
Okay.
wrote him and I said, Simon, I need you to help me to bring Galilei to real life, to help me to gamify what I was doing at that time, like the math game. And he was super into, and he helped me for more than a year. But when I started having these conversations, I told Simon, in here, I think we have a huge market. I think we have like a real problem. Why don't we do this like together?
Mhm.
And you do the gamification part. I do like sales and the product, and I tell you what's the real need. I can to do the interviews to the owners, and we create like a product together. And we have Andre, that is the CTO, that actually he was my partner at the gym, but he
Wow.
didn't start Galilei with me. But once, like when we were finishing with education, I asked him, well, guys, Andres, we have been friends for maybe 1 year, but I actually don't know what you do. And he told me, no, I'm software engineer. I was in Twilio for I don't know how many years. And right now I'm in NICE, that it's even bigger. And I'm in charge of the infrastructure and blah, blah, blah. And I said, man, I need you. And I pitch him and I bring it to him. So right now it was like 4 guys. The other guy, like, well, the story is at that point with Simon, Andres, and the other guy. I told them, well, I have 20 conversations with people. Actually, it was in an Excel sheets. And I
Hmm.
say everything that they told me. And it was something like similar in every single conversation. At that point, I say, Simon, these are the insights. Help me to create something in our minds to go there and talk to them. And I think maybe I'm able to sell something. And that way
Now,
we just, huh?
yeah, help me understand something because you just said something fascinating. So you're telling me that you already had 20 deep conversations with seriously interested people and you had no product. I mean, not.
Absolutely. And one of the conversations were, no, maybe this is not for me. And I understand, well, what industry are them? Okay, maybe they are in blah blah blah. What are the profile of people they are working with? Blah 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 blah. And understood that the people who were more interested in a Galilei solution were the people who has like this kind of deadless employees, like with the same needs, like high turnover, like the positions we are doing right now.
So,
And I get those conversations because I started asking for them, to friends. And it was not selling because I hadn't product. So I was just conversation, like part of the customer discovery.
it's fascinating because I mean, I talk to a lot of founders persistently, and the single thing that we struggle the most is like have a conversation before you're building the product. I mean, what's so hard about that? Like, just go plainly ask them, what are you struggling with? What are your problems? And just be honest about it. I mean, if you don't have anything, it doesn't matter. And you will be surprised by how often they're they're agreeing and giving you time because they want to help. It's like down bottom. down in our guts, beyond our roles and all our masks, we're human beings, right? And we want to help someone else. So people take that, don't give it the credit it deserves. Like how important it is to be easy and open forward about talking to someone and say, hey, can you give me 10 minutes of your time? I want to know if you're struggling with why, right?
think like my approach wasn't that. It was more like uh one of them, maybe Paulo, the one that I remember. Paulo, how are you? It's a kind of close friend. Dude, how are you? How's everything? Yeah. I need to have a 1 hour conversation with you. What about? No, no, no. I'm working a project, but I really want to hear about you. Like, I really want to hear what are you doing right now. Okay, cool. When do you have time? Next week. Okay, what time? And I'm super. So I get the meeting, I go to the meeting, and I start asking questions. Paulo, I know you have a lot of people in church. How do you train them? No, look, we do this and that. The last time that I did X, it didn't work. What didn't work? No, because people is not blah blah blah. What do you mean? No, blah blah blah. I mean, you are saying that they said that they didn't want to do the training because it was X or Y? Yeah, actually, that's what I'm saying. And that's the worst part because it cost us blah blah blah. Okay, when was the last time that you paid for that? No, it was 1 month ago. Da, 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 da. So tell me more about that experience. That's the kind of conversations that I have. At the end of the conversation, at the end of 1 hour talking, he was saying, "Man, what are you gonna sell?" I said, "Nothing. I have nothing to sell. When I have something to sell, when I have something to sell, I will call you back and I will tell you that yeah,
You
we have."
know, I want to unpack that a little because you said so much and it's so important. Now, I want to ask you, so pretty much what you did was a series of open-ended questions. We were pretty honest. You wanted to understand if he had or had not a question. But believe it or not, knowing how to do good open-ended questions is something that so many founders struggle to do. So where did you learn that specific skill? I mean, where did it come from? Because I'm pretty sure you didn't learn it from college.
No, I'm civil engineer. I didn't learn how to do at college. Bro, I think I read a pretty good book about that. It was called the mom test.
Okay,
So actually the mom test is
the mom test.
when you're talking with your mom and you say, Mom,
Yes.
I have this idea, your mom gonna say, Wow, that's the best idea I've ever heard. But actually it's because she doesn't want to hurt you, you know?
Yes.
And that's the logic. With open-ended questions, I wasn't selling something. So anything that Pablo in this case, or Juliana, or Maria, or all of the guys that I talked with could tell me wouldn't affect me or my feelings because we were talking about nothing. We were talking about their problems. I wasn't selling something. When I start selling those things, when I finish my whole customer discovery research, I told Simon, these are the pains. Turnover is too high. People is not motivated to learn the content. They have awful manuals, 50 page, every one of them, that they have to read before start working, or even worse, they have to do shadowing with the person who actually know how to work, so it slow down the operation. And I think in here we have a business because this is bad retention, this is costly, this is slow, this is brand damaging. So everything that you could have, it's happening there. And actually, these people is moving the needle of your business and it's changing every single month. We have a business there. And I start digging bigger, 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 bigger. And the States is a huge problem because we start in Colombia. And I said, wow, now right now we have something, Simon, let's create something together. How could we solve it? And we start creating like the first step of Galilei. And we did an awful, I don't want to see those slides because maybe it's shame, it's shame to be show
Okay.
those slides. Maybe we have, I think we have those, but and I went to one of those clients, well, with those conversations. I say, Maria, right now I have a solution for your problem. Do you want to hear it? Yeah. Do you remember that you told me that you have this problem and this problem? I think completely sure that we can solve it this way and this way. Yeah, but because you heard everything that they say and they give you all the keys to do a good selling because they were convinced before you go to the conversation that they have the problem. and that's
Yes.
different. So when I start the conversation, I say, "Do you remember that you told me that blah blah blah?" All the conversation was that way. Da, 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 da. You told me even that the people is not engaged with the content, that they took like a month to read the 50-page book and blah blah blah. We did this research, we have these things. This research shows that gamified solutions are learning like 3 times the time. So after that, it was just one meeting, and they said, "Well, I want it. When can I have it?" And I say, "Well, 1 month." So I finished the conversation and I called the guys, we have 1 month. They already paid, so we have to start right now. And 1 month after, we have like our first MVP.
Wow, that's fascinating, because many people, I mean, the most of the ones we've worked with typically need to have the product before they go. And you said two things. First of all, you went with questions at the beginning, not even a slide, not even anything. And then you went with a slide. So you didn't even wait to have a mock-up design or anything. You went with a presentation and you can sell. So I mean, what I really want people to think is whomever's struggling with the pain, if they have a big enough pain, they don't care if you come with a PowerPoint slide. If they actually believe that you're going to change, I mean, that you're going to help them fix it, they're willing to work it forward. So, and that's something that people shy out about. Like they're not willing to go and show something that they would not personally buy.
Yeah, and
It's,
another mistake that I have seen with like colleagues or people in sales, when they arrive to the conversation, they want to show off. So they start talking and talking and talking about features and about problems and blah. And I do exactly the opposite. Like in my playbook, in the Galilei's playbook, we have this first part. We say, "Hi Leo, thanks for the time. I have a bunch of questions. Sorry for that, but I really want to understand if we can work together. So I have a lot of questions right now. And if we see that what we do, like fit with those questions that we made before, you tell me what the next steps are. And at the end of this conversation, we set the next steps. But right now, maybe like 10 minutes before finishing, I can show you a video or a mock-up, or I can go through the platform and show you how it works, or whatever you want to see, I can show you 10 minutes before finishing. Uh, but right now I have a bunch of questions. And that's the very first meeting of Galilei, like questions. At the end, you know everything that you need to know, like know if they have the budget, if they are really having the pain, if they really, really are interested in what you're doing or not. You can learn about how to solve different problems. You can learn, actually, you can have this kind of sympathy with people. So you can start seeing, well, this guy is kind of more numerical, or maybe this is more emotional, or how should I sell this? Or even like in the second meeting that it should be like a demo with your company stuff. What is he willing to see? What are the pains? What are they measuring? So bunch of
Mhm.
questions like today I have like a meeting and we did like 17 pages from understand like the guys that are in there, and to have like a pretty good meeting, this is prepared. We have like 30 minutes and we took like an hour and a half. And I think I talk, I don't know, 20% of the time, maybe less.
Yes.
And the guy was talking and talking and talking, and I was taking notes and I was looking at them. And at the end, he said, "Well, I love what you're doing, guys. I want to start with 17 locations. Send me a quote." Cool. Cool.
So you just mentioned three things. Just gonna unpack it because everyone that's listening, this can be very useful. First of all, you did agenda setting, which pretty much means you go into a call and you set up expectations and you
Absolutely.
ask for permission to ask
Absolutely.
questions. So where did you learn that? Because that again is something very conscious that you're doing that no one, now not many people we work with actually know how to do. So where do you get that from?
I read so many things. I bring everything that works for me. And I think these kind of things are more about the first thing that I need you to buy me is actually you know me.
Yes.
Then, then when you know me, even because I reach out on LinkedIn or we met in a whatever or somebody like did the intro, whatever, I need you to like me.
Hmm.
And then I need you to trust me. And then you're gonna buy me, not before.
Great.
So for the liking stuff, what I understand is I think I did it my whole life, but I didn't understand why. But this asking of permission, this sympathy stuff, this like, we are building a conversation. So I need to know that we are in the same path. So when I bring 80 questions, and I can show you right now the script, the sales scripts that I
Hmm.
have for this meeting. When I have this bunch of questions from his business, he said, well, this guy knows me. This guy did the research. This guy is prepared. This guy actually, but if I get to the conversation, I say, well, this is Galilei. This is what we do. We improve X. We do blah, blah, blah. We make blah. We have the best gamification market. I don't know what's his problem. And I need that him convince himself of these problems. So I think it's more like listening is more powerful than talking.
Completely.
And as you said, maybe one book or whatever, I don't remember the
No, it
exact.
was fascinating. I just wanted to see if there was a specific book because if there is, everyone has to learn it. But you did lots of things there, and I just wanted to unpack it for people who are listening. First of all, when you do agenda setting, what we say is like you have to reverse engineer the outcome. What do you want out of that call? And what you want out of that call, you have to put at the beginning of the call, right? Because you, if you share with them what your objective is, very likelihood the conversation will lead there.
Or
But
not.
if you don't, it can lead wherever they want, and maybe that's not where you want, and you end up spending too much time talking about things that are not interesting. But when you do it from the beginning, like this is what I want out of this, eventually I'm going to show you the product, but before the product, are you okay if I make you a lot of questions? Why? I want to make sure that this makes sense for both of us because if not, I'm going to let you know I can't help you and maybe we're going to end the call early.
Yeah.
So when you ask for permission, what happens in the mind of whomever's listening is that their barriers go down because
Yeah, you get it.
no one wants to be sold. It's
You
it's funny,
you
right?
absolutely
We're
get
talking
it.
about a sales podcast. We're trying to tell people like, hey, the first thing that you have to be aware is that no one wants to be sold. So when you show up and you genuinely show yourself honestly worried about learning about the other one, you're sort of changing the argument. They no longer fear they're being sold to. They want to be understood, and who doesn't want to be understood? So then it started working in your favor because they're open to sharing things that might lead to a sale. But you're very on cue when you say that what you're doing is you're working your emotional bond with them. And you said trust. We say belief alignment, but in the essence, it's the same. Like we think that you say when they trust us, they want to be business with us. We say, okay, beyond trust is belief. If your beliefs are aligned, they're gonna want to do business with you. It's pretty much the same thing, but I completely agree with you when you say the worst thing that many people do is show up and throw up. Like you show up, you pretend you know, but you don't, and you start talking about anything, and you have no idea if they care. Very likely that that conversation will go wrong only because you were not listening.
Oh, and I've been sold many times.
Uh-huh.
And then I learn why is this working with me or why is this, you know?
Hmm.
And actually I realized that I don't like when people start talking and talk. One guy that was telling me like an AI thing to validate. And he started talking and talking and talking. I say, no, because you can improve your social media ratio and we can make your automate things and we can blah, 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 blah. And I wasn't looking for something in social media.
Hmm.
How would he know? Because he's not in my mind and he didn't ask.
Exactly. Like if he would have been a little bit different about it and would have asked you a question, hey, Diego, can I make you a question?
So, yeah, you know.
Hey, do you have any problem reaching your social media or something like
Even
that?
even I don't like to be that direct.
Okay.
I try to do like, for example, with these guys this morning. Well, I really want to know how did you grow that fast with the people and how do you make them work like 100% of their potential? So
Yeah.
he starts telling me, okay, well, no, what we do is we train them with blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you are saying I'm gonna try to like say the same things with different words so to see if I get it. And I did that, and I say, it seems like you're feeling not too comfortable with that. That's labeling, the classic thing. And he opens the door. Like yesterday, we have a pretty good meeting, like another sales meeting. And at the end of the conversation, I didn't have what I wanted. So I was a little bit uncomfortable. I was with David, like the guy or SDR.
Hmm.
And and I was because I didn't have like enough tools and it was like 10 minutes remaining. So I showed Galilei and I saw that at that time she said, well, and I said, well, and I just stay quiet. And she said, yeah, we have a problem because we did like a season, blah, blah, blah. And I say, what happened with the last season product that you have? People didn't learn it. We didn't solve it. Right now, the other seasonal product that we have, it's 55% of the quote. So right now, we are not gonna bring it. So right now, yeah, we can do that. We can help you with your season products because obviously something that we do often. What do you think if we have another meeting and talk about that specifically? We have 5 minutes left. So I show her how. I say, I'm super interested. I want you to bring me like a quote about specifically for that. I say, cool.
uh, I think you're so good reading that you incorporate everything you do because you right now did a couple of things that are very very uncommon. You mirrored what they said and you
Yeah,
paused.
absolutely. That's hard.
And
At the very beginning, it's super hard.
it's super hard. And it's something that Jeremy says, my partner says all the time. If you know how to make it work for you, the pause is like the best instrument you can have.
It's super powerful. Super powerful.
Why?
I think it's because it's so uncomfortable for everyone in the room that you need to talk. And
Exactly.
if I'm stronger than you, I can't stay like in this like uncomfortableness. So you're gonna talk before me. So you're gonna give me more insights. And I'm gonna do it and I'll do it and I'll do it again.
It's fascinating because, yes, what you said is exactly true. So, unconsciously, people will fill in the silence, right? So, they're not used to facing silence, so they will fill it in and they
They
will
need to
fill it in
talk.
with whatever is top of mind. And many times, the reason why it worked for you was because you knew that they were thinking about something.
Absolutely.
So you mirrored and you waited, and they blew it up. So if
And that's
you've
in the
said,
Galilei in the Galilei sales book, the playbook. It's in black bold letter, like mirroring. You say the last words they say, and you shut up and just look at them.
yes,
That's all.
and that
You
goes from
wait.
the Chris Voss handbook.
It, I think everything that we have used, um, it start helping like in the context. And it's not something that you can just learn by reading. You need to apply it and learn how it
Exactly.
fits like in the field, because uh, I read one book and it says like, which one do you prefer? Like 10,000 hours reading about war, guy that knows everything about war, or a guy that have been in 5 wars before? Well, the guy with 5 words, because actually he knows how it works. The other guy just read about it and it's way different. Learn about war than being in a word. So it's applying, and the guy that is working with us, that David, he's learning so fast. He's helping me with like the amount of pipeline that we need to have. And he says, "Well, man, how can I do that things?" And I say, we have got the playbook, but at the very beginning, I need you to come with the meetings with me and try to understand what I'm doing and go and read the playbook once again and tell
And
me
then
what
make
did
it
I,
yours.
yeah. So you can, no, so you can like, because I did like I've been working this for a while. So for me, it's like automatic, I know when I have to do it. But for him, is like trying to force like those techniques, but it's
No,
not
it
that
takes
way.
takes takes the time. Take it from someone that sees this like every week, and it's very interesting to see what you're saying right now because sometimes you may know what you have to do, but going from the knowing what to do to actually doing, it's a pretty. I mean, I don't know if it's one call, two call, three calls, how many calls it's gonna take,
How
but
many goals I have done
it's
at the
gonna
moment?
take a lot of practice to make
Yeah.
sure that something that you think works ends up working. So yes, that's pretty cool. Now, in your sales journey, it was very interesting because you had like double starts, right? You started in Colombia, you you went back to Techstars, they challenge you. They say, you have to pick a market. I think you ended up picking United States as
Yeah.
your main market,
Yeah.
and you ended up working it for how long has it been
It was actually this year, you know.
this year? So
Yeah.
what's that? 8 months?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
But
so
we get
so eight.
clients like in 3 weeks in the States. Same thing. I went to Franchise Expo, a meeting in there, and I was talking to every single guy like in the Franchise Expo. And it was kind of funny because one guy was selling me, and I was taking notes about everything he was saying because I was doing my open-ended questions to understand if I was doing was good or not. And I was
Yes.
taking my notes, and at the end he said, "You are not buying, isn't it?" And I said, "No." "What do you do?" "No, look, I'm into the Techstars and JP Morgan program. I have like a platform that aligns your goals with the motivations of employees doing a gamified tailor training. That's what we
Hmm.
do." I say, "Well, I need that." He was our first customer.
So okay, it's pretty cool that in just 3 weeks you already had a paying client, but it's been 8 months. You're tackling what would be a new market for you because you
Absolutely.
were born and raised. So what would you say is your biggest aha for any of your, let's say, fellow Techstars founders that want to tackle the US market? Like, what have you learned that really worked for you to kickstart these conversations?
It's hard to say, but as I told you before, you need them to know you, like you, and they trust you. Simple as that. And in my case, they didn't know me, and right now I'm working too hard in that. I have been working like trying to get to the big like associations of restaurants. For example, in this case, we are
Okay.
close to sign like a revenue share with one of them, 23,000 restaurants. But it has been there, talking with people, having these conversations. Once again, another. What I have seen that maybe doesn't work right now with the AI world and the things is people think that maybe send a bunch of cold mails or things like that are gonna make you have like the closing. Maybe yes, maybe no. In the field I am, it's more about meeting the right people, having conversations, get referrals. That's what I have
Okay.
learned, and it's like a slow pace.
So you said meeting with the right people, having the right conversations. I get it. Now, how did you make it work? I mean, so well, you say right now, let's just think about this thing you did. Like you're close to maybe signing a deal with this restaurant association. So how did you get to that conversation? I mean, what's the reverse engineering of that outcome?
And I have to ask for help to all the people I knew.
Okay.
So, so Georgia Tech is maybe one of the best things that had happened to us.
Georgia
They,
Tech.
yeah, they had like something that is called the GTMC, that it's maybe the Entrepreneurship Center of Technology from Georgia Tech in Medellin.
Okay.
So they are
Okay.
gonna do some introductions with the right people. So they
Hmm.
make me the introduction
Okay.
with one guy that I like him too, but well, we like each other, so we start like sharing these things. I say, well, I'm super passionate about this. I say, well, I used to have a restaurant. I say, no, no way, show me. And he showed me, and I say, well, I'm doing this. And when he said, well, when I used to have my restaurant, I would like to have this to train my people. I'm gonna put you in contact with this and this and this. I said, cool, please, let's start traveling more often to Atlanta.
Hmm.
And then I met and I have the meeting and I did my thing and I have these conversations and I start asking for more intros and that's the thing. It's
That's
pretty much asking the right intro, and one of those is gonna work.
okay. So first of all, something that's very important to do, and the way you did it is you use your network in your favor, right? So you have all these resources that are at your disposition, be that Techstars, be that the GTMC, and whatever. You knew your objective. This is where I have to get, and you've actively worked your relationships to get to where you want to be, like to get the proper intros.
Yeah.
And that's always going to be the easiest way to have a good conversation, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
How
because you know how many people is doing the LinkedIn outreach strategy or the cold email outreach strategy, even with AI, even with personalizing the right email with the right it's so massive that nobody's doing it. So I think right now, at least again, at least in the field I am, even though if you can reach the people, we have done cold outreach and it's it works. But I think the thing that worked the most is like meeting with people. These kind of connections, listening, mirroring, labeling, don't work in a mail. You know,
getting exposed? And what's your experience going to events? I mean, like networking events, speaking events, tech events.
that's
I don't know, has any of them worked or not worked?
I think everything works because they start knowing you. So yes, for example, I have a conversation with a 500 location owner. Otherwise, without like a 500 locations is crazy. I don't know. Like Chick-fil-A
It's
has like
huge.
3,000 locations, so you can imagine that they have a big brand. So I met the guy there, and it was an event of same thing, franchises, and I went there. And I start talking with people. I say, well, no, cool. Tell me about your brand. And I say, no, we have this, that, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. And the same question things. At the end, they say, well, what do you do? And I say, well, I'm Diego, I'm the CEO of Galilei. We do this. Are you interesting or not? And he say, if you come tomorrow, he's gonna be the CEO in here. Maybe he wants to see the thing that you have. The next day, I went there and we have the conversation. It didn't end with like a sell, but right now he knows me. He has my mail. When he started thinking about buying a solution like ours, he's gonna call me, because we have two or three conversations, and we are on top of the mind. So I think it's super hard, like those events are something super uncomfortable for me in the way that you have to talk to people that you actually don't know. Then, so I have to go take a breath and come back again. Then when you see that everyone is in the same vibe, that they need to meet each other, so you stop thinking about "Eh, maybe if they say no, what? I already have the no, so I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna ask
Uh,
about the things that they know the most about themselves, about their businesses. So that's the way I.
so I heard you say something, and it struck me different because initially you sound like someone that can easily have a conversation with anyone. That's at least
I
that
think
impression that I'm building in my
that's
head.
that's why my partner says that I easily can. but it's kind of different for me and change everything when, well, we get to the conversation right now. We are like in this meeting. There is a person that actually, I don't know. And it's kind of different, but at the very beginning, I went to an event and I stopped talking to people, you know? Okay, I get freeze. But it was going there and go outside my comfort zone. I say, well, I have to talk to people. I'm paying this. This is so expensive. I have to talk to people. So it's hard because you don't know how the other people is going through. It's always easier like in a Zoom meeting, you know. But when you are in
Mhm.
there, I start like at the very beginning suffering with that. Right now, I think I learned how to enjoy that. Even the no's that make you feel, oh, even the awful knows that people like treat you bad or they say, well, I'm not interested, go away. Because they're
Okay.
doing other things, you know?
So what did you learn about yourself that you're doing right now? I mean, you go to now,
Yeah.
if you go to a networking event, like how do we approach a new conversation? What do you say?
If I'm going to a franchise expo or something like that, super specific in my niche, I will try to reach out how many people is gonna be there. Try to learn everything that I can about these guys. And when I'm there, I'm gonna talk directly. So, hi Leo, I know you are in this and that and blah blah blah. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you did X to Y? And the guy's gonna be, what do you know? Well, man, I did my research. I know I really want to meet you here. So, with a smile in your face, saying, if you have 50 minutes, we can have a conversation. Yeah, cool. It's always, yeah, cool, or give me a call, or this is my car right now, I can't. So that way I learn how to do it. Because at the very, if you don't know the guy and you're going to talk to him, and he's willing in this franchise expo to sell his franchise, and you are not in a stand, you are like me, like walking through the crime to the expo, they're gonna see like you are making them losing their time. And that's a
Yeah.
more valuable thing in there. So you need to know them. You need to try to at least the names and try to do a specific thing about what they are doing, you know? And with that, bring the conversation to the thing that we were talking before. So right now, for me, it's not a challenge because I prepare myself for that. But at the very beginning, it was, well, I need to talk to strangers. Like the guy that I told you before, he was a complete, and we weren't prepared for that. So I go in there
Okay.
and start talking to people. But at the very beginning, I felt uncomfortable because most people say, you're gonna sell me right now in my stand that I'm trying to sell to people. You're just making me losing my time, you know?
Yeah.
But if you have a different approach, it's like, tell me, let me know, then more. I know that you are growing 15 locations in South Florida or whatever. I really know that you are doing this and that. I think it's great. But I think what we do could help you to make your business even better because we can slow down the turnover. That is like a huge pain, like in the fund. If you have time today or tomorrow, I'm gonna be around. Yeah, no, 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 I have time, 15 minutes. So,
Yes.
no, it's kind of different, you know?
So so if anyone listening, I'm just gonna make a quick summary and tell me if I got it right. So if you're going to a networking event, instead of going like bluntly and like expecting the universe to work for you, you can do something about it and make best use of your time by being prepared, seeing who's gonna show up, what are the brands, what they're selling, have something of true curiosity to share with them, just so that they can separate you from everyone else. And
Yeah,
if you approach them knowing something about them, you're already like 95% more interesting than any other random people that they might meet. Obviously, they're there for a reason, and so they will do business down the road. But it's very interesting what you say about being prepared.
absolutely. That a perfect example is what I said before. I know that this guy from the restaurant was gonna be there giving a even this was more stalker because I knew he was going to give like a a keynote. You know, he was gonna be
Mhm.
like giving like leading the conversation. So I wasn't there like in the stage and I was looking at him and he when he go down, I say, hi man, I know I was waiting for this. I know you are like right now 500 restaurants. That's crazy. I really want to show you what I'm developing because I think I can help you with the high pace you are having right now in your growth. And he said, well, go here. We have maybe have time. And it was coincidental, but the guy was Latino. So even I
It
like,
always, I mean, whatever works, right? Because I
I
mean, if
know,
he's
like
Latino, you have already something in
I
common, and
was
that's
like,
part of the
yeah,
battle.
that's other thing that I try to do often. Try to look if we have something in common and try to make this count.
Great.
If you do it
Now,
in the right way, it works. If you do it in a bad way, it's gonna be forced and it's gonna be awful. So try to be honest with that. If you like football and the other guy like football, ask him for his favorite team or whatever. But if you don't like football, don't do it. It's gonna be awful.
now there's a nuance in what you're saying because this is what everyone calls like Bonnie and report, and it's good to do enough as they want. But you said something very right. If you do it wrong, you may be screwing all the conversation from the start. I mean, if you go the wrong way. So, what I like about what you said is like, if you're going to do it, be prepared. And if you're not, go to what you really want. I mean, the honest question, what do you want to know? And because if you don't do your research and you do a very bad question, like trying to do this report thing, it's going to blow up in your face. Now, you sound like someone that is really good at selling just because you're doing it so much. But what do you believe is the hardest part about selling?
It depends. It depends of your personality and your skills.
Hmm.
For me, it's not the meeting. For me, it's the best part because I like to have these meetings. I like to talk about the problem we're trying to solve. I like to listen about people's struggles. For me, it's not the hardest part. For me, it's harder to find the right people. And we are right now, we are doing different strategies, you know, to try to figure out how can I have more conversations because I'm pretty good at that.
Okay.
So it depends, like for you, for us, the hardest part is find the right people to have the conversation and
Okay.
start making that something that we can replicate every single time. That's our challenge right now, and we are focused on that because every single time that we have the meeting, at least we get to the quote.
Okay. So
So
when the hardest part for you, I understand correctly, is how to have the right people meet with you.
yeah, but it's not because of me. It's because right now everything is so full of AI and things like that.
Yeah.
You know that I was telling you before. People stop believing in LinkedIn stuff, for example. So
Hmm.
a few years ago, it was super cool because I talked to people through LinkedIn and they actually answer. Right now, people is so like, when you add someone to your LinkedIn and you want really to have this conversation, maybe they are thinking you are gonna sell illegally and it feels awful and they don't like even accept you. So what we
Hmm.
are doing for that, we have a plan. So we are trying to position it like ourselves and Galilei as experts in the field that actually we are.
Hmm.
And when you get these kind of connections with people that it's in your field and already has other connections, it's easier than you get those connections and you have the conversation with the CEO that is talking about the problems you are having. So this is not that immediate as sending like a cold, an outbound cold outreach strategy that they are going to answer like a 1%. You need to create your profile. If you see my profile on LinkedIn is super specific for this kind of people, and I'm solving this kind of problem. And that, so if the person is going to, I talk to them and they look to my profile, if they get into the problem that I'm solving, we are going to have a conversation, you know?
Yes.
So that's what we are doing right now. Maybe we can talk in a few months and I tell you if that works or not. But that's what we are doing right now to solve this kind of AI stuff during like cold outreach, like for thousands and thousands of people.
Yes, so if I have to put a word into what you're doing, and this is something that actually lots of your fellow Techstars founders do, is like building authority.
Yeah.
So it's very different when you talk someone out of the blue, which works, which still works, but it has a completely different success ratio, and it really depends what you want to do, rather than putting yourself as a subject matter expert on something. Because normally if you do your work right, is and if you know like how to add the right people that you want to talk with, and you add them to LinkedIn, they accept, and you start putting valuable content in front of them, what's really happening is that you're starting to build your authority in their heads. So whenever chances happen that, or you make that conversation happen, or you coincidentally meet them somewhere, you're no longer a stranger. So that's what I've seen many people work, and it's actually working. But again, it's super hard because of what you said right now. It's starting to be so full of AI gibberish all over that separating yourself from the noise, that's like the real question, how to do that.
Yeah.
Some people
Yeah.
do it by
That's
doing honest. Some people do it by filming themselves in a vertical manner.
I'm doing it by building like the way I write in LinkedIn is the way I'm talking to you right now. Try to
Mhm.
be honest, try to be like, you know, you can say what someone is writing. ChatGPT, please give me a post viral for LinkedIn, blah blah blah. You immediately know what's that post and how the people wrote it because for example, for me, that it's a tool. I love writing, so I love to put my thoughts, even if my agenda or in some place. So all those thoughts, I try to bring it to the network and share it if I can, and try to take leverage from the experience that we are having. So I think that's the real key for that. Be honest, be yourself, and try to actually share something valuable for them.
Yes, yes, completely agree. I mean, beyond like just putting data out there, like being honest about your journey, about your interest, uh, about like what really interests you is something that will end up playing up and hopefully differentiating you from everyone else. And it's not just about prompting GPT and putting content every day because everyone's just so full of that right now. But would you say that that is your biggest challenge today, like getting enough meetings with the right people? Is that
Yeah,
it?
yeah, and actually, it's because of the market that we are. We are in the QSR and hospitality business,
Okay.
you know, and maybe if we were in other more tech-savvy field or vertical, would be easier to reach the right people. But we are in a specific vertical that the people is in their jobs every single time. They are focused on what they have to do. They are focused on the restaurant. They are focused on the people. They are focused. If you are going to talk with a Chick-fil-A operator, they're gonna be working actually in the restaurant.
Yes, and what I've heard you do one many times, and obviously not scalable, but still working, is like showing up, like going straight to the restaurant, and like who can I talk to? And that's gonna work. I mean, maybe not
Yeah,
at the scale you
that
want it right now, but that's still
works.
something that you want to do if you're in your first sales, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Having the courage to show up and get a no and just do
And
it.
absolutely, you have to have courage, and they are gonna, even if they say no, if you do the right wording, at least uh, they're gonna feel, well, this guy have like courage to be here in front of me, and the other guy just sending me LinkedIn invitations, see LinkedIn quotes. So I'm gonna be honest, like I get two corporate conversations with maybe the biggest in the field, the biggest. I'm telling you, like one of them was an event, and somebody told me this guy is the innovation of this company. And I wonder, hi man, I'm Diego.
I've
How
been
are you?
told.
Yeah, I'm Diego. How are you? How's everything? I didn't know anything about the guy, but I was with a smile on my face. It was my one shot. And I said, man, I know that in your company you are looking for new solutions. I know you are innovation stuff. I know turnover is a pain in the neck for all of you. What we do is we align the business goals with employee motivations, gamifying their training. Could we have any conversation about that? Would you think that it would be interesting for you? And he say, wow, Diego, that's cool. Yeah, send me a mail. And he didn't answer. And I said, oh, well, at least I
And
did it.
would you
But let me
allow me to
finish this.
share?
Let me finish this because it's kind of funny.
Okay.
I keep being, well, I say, wow, but the guy was super cool. What happened? So I start doing my follow-ups, like, hey, whatever, X name, do you remember that we talked that day? Da, da, da. No. Hey, man, da, da. Another one, three follow-ups, nothing happened. Like 1 month after that, he said, Diego, I was looking for your mail. I was on vacation, but right now I have 30 minutes. You need to pitch to me and to the other people because it's someone like looking for something that you are doing. I did the first pitch. He said, well, we love it. Next pitch. So what does it mean? So right now we are talking with these guys and the person in charge of uh, this song, you know? Okay, cool. At the end of the conversation, I ask, well, what are the next steps? And they say, if someone, I know, immediately they say, I like it, and I want you in front of the 20 people that is going to take like the decision if we can do a pilot with 50 locations. And I say, well, absolutely. Let me know what do you want to see? And they told me, I want to see this and that. And I say, cool. I'm pretty good presenting, so I'm gonna do the best I can. I have this conversation last week, but I have to wait 1 month. So we pitched to 50 locations and they have more than 4,000. The 50
Yeah.
location is a pilot, but I could bring all of them. But it was because I talked to the person, like at the time. Same thing with the other guy. The other experience was like it was a woman. She was the CEO of another company like this. I was in an event and she was like talking in a podcast. And I went there. I'm sorry, I'm Diego. With a smile on my face. I know you don't know me. Absolutely, I know who you are. I really want to talk to you. Do you have 5 minutes? Yeah, tell me. No, look, what we do is we align, blah, 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 blah. And she said, well, we are looking for that. Why don't you talk with my HR? And she said, come here, guy. And she bring the HR. And with the HR, we were sitting each other like in the next to other, and I was showing their like Galilei, and she was saying, "Wow, I really like it. Will you come tomorrow and show me the whole experience?" Absolutely. We pitched them right now. We send the quote, and we are waiting for them to like confirm that we can start. But it's the same thing, I could say that it won't scale, but right now you have the like one goal of one of these huge guys. There are people with 3,000 restaurants, 4,000 restaurants, 23,000 restaurants, and you are like trying to be in the same place that they are.
So, what would you say is your belief about yourself before you talk to these people?
That's an awful conversation. That's an awful conversation with myself because at the beginning it's as I told you before, it's uncomfortable for me, but I start thinking. You just need 60 seconds of bravery or regret the rest of the day, even the rest of maybe your week, your month, or
Mhm.
whatever. So it's 60 seconds. They could say no, and that's
Yes.
cool. And it's more often happening that they say no, but maybe if they say yes, look, right now I did 3 pitches with one of the huge corporates, and maybe they would say, let's start with just 50 locations, and maybe I nail it and I get the other ones, you
You
know?
know, what I thought you were going to answer. So it's just that I think you truly believe you can help him.
That's the other thing. Like the very first conversation is you have to do it.
Uh-huh.
So do it. 60 seconds. Just do it because you're gonna regret more if you don't do it. Like at the first part, because the first thing that you're gonna say, nah, maybe they say no. You start inventing excuses. You
Yes.
start saying yourself why are they gonna say no and why it's better that you don't talk to them.
Yes.
usual human behavior.
Yes.
But when you say that, absolutely, I'm gonna say, man, you have never seen your employees enjoy their training the way they're doing with us, and you have never seen the results that we are having with our clients.
Yes.
It's a win-win-win for you, for me, for your employees.
Yeah, something we say is that you have to be your first true believer, because if you don't believe in what you can potentially do for them, you're walking into a conversation already losing, right? Because if you think before you get to the conversation that you're bargaining their time, you already are not with the right mindset. Now, I know we're we're a little bit short on time, but before you go, are you okay if we make a quick lightning round?
Really?
I'm gonna share like some questions with you and just answer me with the first thing that comes up into your mind.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, so favorite sales hero.
Julius Caesar.
Okay, Julio Cesar, very good.
But
Uh,
I know why, that I have strong arguments to say that he's a pretty good selling person.
I'm just curious. Why?
Man, this guy was bankruptcy, and he was kidnapped by pirates. He was able to convince two different cities that lend him money and he will pay the triple, he will triple their money. So he will pay for the pirates like a crazy amount of money that the pirates believe that he wouldn't make it. He get the money in 40 days. He go there and ask for more money to create like an army and
Mhm.
go to the pirates, kill all of them, bring the money that they have stole from him and all the money that they already have, and he paid his doubts. And it was just
Wow.
because he had this strong feeling that he was going to make it. So that's a salesperson,
That's
you know?
I've never seen that story from that angle, and I have to agree you're right. Okay, so favorite sales book.
No, not too much. I can decide. Let's never split the difference would be like a cliche, but I like it. I
Perfect.
think
No,
it's because it's actionable. That's what I like.
it's so useful. Yes, I completely agree. Cold calling.
I have done it, and I hate it. I I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yes,
But if
it's
I have to do it, I will do it. If I have, what I would say about cold calling is, I hate to be cold called.
okay.
What I will do, something that I hate people do to me.
Uh-huh.
But right now, I think it's getting more power because LinkedIn, as I told you before, LinkedIn
Yes.
and cold mailing is that full of people that you have to have like some courage to call someone and say, well, look, I'm Diego. And I have done it several times. The thinking that you need to call the right person.
Hmm.
As I told you before, I call managers and they say, man, I'm in a rush. Are you really calling me right now? And I feel awful. And you start doing again. And that's what I learned.
I mean, the thing is like, don't take it personal. It's part of the business, but it works. I mean, if you're willing to do the job, and it can work.
You know what I think show up works better is less scalable than cold calling. But if you tell me, I'm gonna be honest. If you tell me that one person that I really want to meet, it's gonna be in one place, and I will have one shot to talk them, I'm gonna be there, and I
Great.
will do it.
I'll take that. Like, I I think I've listened to that concept. They named it like cold showing up or something, but yes, I mean, whatever it is, I completely think it works. I mean, if you're able to be there in the right moment at the right time, do it. Um, Biggest reason salespeople fail.
Talking too much, not listening. I think.
talking too much, not listening, showing up and throwing up completely. Um, Favorite question to ask on a sales call?
We're saying tomorrow? No, 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 I'm just lying. Let's say, um, I think, I don't know because I do a bunch of questions, all of them like focus,
Yes.
but maybe, maybe I like to ask something that I learned at school. Uh, how do you take the decision? And you learn something about that question that it's, if you say, no, it's my decision and blah, 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 probably it's not true. It's more people like under the table. And if they say, no, look, we have, well, you have a bunch of conversations. If you are talking with a mid level and they say, well, no, I take the lead and whatever, it's not true.
Mhm.
So you are going to have to work harder. But if it's someone, for example, this morning, how do you take the lead? I know the guy was the person. I know he was the CFO, the COO. So I
Yes.
know he was the guy who's like having the final call. I said, well, I would like to introduce you to my team. Look at the difference. I would like to introduce you to my team, in which we have three people in charge of each area. I want them to know you, and if they agree, we can go further. It's his call. I'm absolutely sure, but he wants to make his team like in the same path,
If
you
they're
know?
all on board, basically.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good question.
So the
But I
question
think
would be,
like, how do you take decisions?
great. So, Diego, I'm super happy for this conversation. I mean, we've talked about so many things, and I'm just going to make like a very big high level summary about some things that I take away. And so let me know if you would add anything. So, first of all, we talked about courage. I mean, if I would have to put a title to this conversation, it would be courage. You have had the courage once and again to always put yourself in front of the people, one way or the other, or through a direct reference or in an event, and open yourself up to make them the right questions. So, first of all, having the courage to show up, then knowing how to show up, but ultimately understanding that it's about making the right questions, because if you do the right questions, you will know if you can help them. And if you figure that out, you're like halfway in the right direction, other than what you said, like showing up and throwing up. And you were very specific about the usefulness of showing up, and you've many times shared this story, but I want to share with everyone. I mean, you've gone to the point where you showed up in the restaurant. You said, I want to work here. And you've worked, and you've put yourself exactly in the position of the people who you want to solve those. So for everyone listening, like how important it is to have the courage to show up, to live what you preach, to make the proper questions, and to actually deliver. Like be
Yep.
really interested in delivering. So my big summary is like have the courage, know how to do the right questions, and show up. Know how and when to show up in front of the right people. Would you
Absolutely.
add anything to that?
I will add something that during this conversation I realized that some people think that actually I'm super cool talking to strangers. No, it's hard. As I told you, it's hard. It's hard, like get into a Burger King and ask for the manager and say, man, I really need to talk to you. That's hard, but it's 60 seconds of bravery, 60, that's all you need, man. You're gonna feel awful if you don't do it. You're gonna feel bad when they say no. But when you get it, you made it, you're gonna feel great. You are going out your comfort zone. And when you go out from your comfort zone and you learn to be comfortable in that awful situation, you have a tool that it's probably the most powerful tool in your life. You're gonna learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable situations. That's what I think I have learned.
Wow, I love it. And I'm so glad you brought it up because if this podcast has a topic and it's challenging sales, if I would have to share who the villain of this history is, it's the comfort zone. Many times people are uncomfortable and they're not willing to go beyond that. And what's beyond that? What you said it. I mean, if you're able to find 60 minutes of bravery to do something that you're not comfortable with, then you're gonna be able to move the wheel in the right direction. And this means sometimes talking to someone cold. This means sometimes having the bravery to have that conversation to start with, but most importantly, doing it with the right, I mean, with the right preparation. That's the other thing. You will always prepare to make the right questions because you thought about them beforehand. So when the minute comes, I mean, you have like this battery of things you can go back to, which would
Absolutely.
be the difference of someone that shows up and doesn't know what to ask. So
Same
that's
thing.
so important.
Same thing like you said. I completely agree. And the other thing is, for example, like we did a perplexity research for the guy that we were talking today. And you can be honest. I told him, man, all of I learned from you, I did it from this and that, but it didn't say how much did you sell last week or something like that. So he was funny, and actually I was preparing myself, and the guy with this kind of honesty, he said, well, no, actually the number is X, and I needed the number because the
Yes,
number depends of how much can I charge.
obviously, and that would lead to another conversation. But Diego, thank you very much. Is if anyone that's listening, how could they contact you if they want to reach you out?
Okay, now I'm LinkedIn, Diego González Castellanos. Like you just have to reach out. CEO of Galilei. I think we are in Instagram too, like Galilei US, Galilei Latam, I think. And yeah, I think those channels are the channels that we use the most.
Well, thank you very much. And for everybody listening, remember that believing in yourself is pretty much the first step that you can do to closing your next deal. So thank you very much
Absolutely.
for your time. And thank you very much, Diego, for everything.
Thanks, Leo.